All right. Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in today with Ethiopic. As you all know, Ethiopic is a local news organization that tries to bridge the gap between local offices, public offices, and the immigrant community, Amharic-speaking immigrant community in the DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And with that regard, this time around, we have started addressing the current mayoral race in the Washington, D.C. And today, we are going to host our first mayoral candidate interview with Gary Goodweather. Thank you, Mr. Gary Goodweather, for joining us today. I really appreciate for taking the initiative and taking your time off to address our community. We will have some questions for you, but we would love to start with your introduction.
Perfect. First of all, thank you incredibly much for having me. I appreciate it. It's an honor. I'm Gary Goodweather. I'm running for mayor to make DC more affordable and make every neighborhood safe. I have spent the past 30 years in DC raising my family. I met my wife here. Both my kids were born and raised in this city. I spent time on active duty in the Army. I was a armor officer, tanks, and recon, and built my life here. I've been in business for 30 years. I built the Hilton Garden Inn in Noma, which helped accelerate the Noma neighborhood during the Great Recession. I sat on the Noma Business Improvement District Board. I started my company here in DC about 12 years ago now, and we built housing throughout the city. I have consulted for universities, nonprofits, helping support their mission and create new revenue sources to be able to support their missions. While I was working during the day, I earned a MBA in finance from Johns Hopkins University when it was still on Massachusetts Avenue before it moved up to Capitol Hill. Now I am running because I am running to serve our city. I want to serve all DC residents. I love this city, and I'm excited, just excited to talk today.
Awesome. Just want to give you a heads up. These are some of the questions are actually came from our readers. So these are the pain points of our community members, and that's an honor for us because we are able to bring these questions to public, those that are vying for public office. So this question that came directly from one of our readers is, if elected, what are the top three changes residents would realistically see during your first year in office?
I appreciate the question. Top three choices. Number one is that I am completely revamping the Department of Buildings, the permitting and the approval and the entitlement process. The reason why that matters is that DC makes it really hard to do business, to open up restaurants, and it just takes too long. It costs too much, and it's really a barrier to our residents to be able to succeed. Number two is that I'm going to under my what we call the Fare Free DC project program. We're going to provide free Metro bus and Metro rail to all DC residents. For regular transit riders, it's going to put about $1,000 a year back in DC residents' pockets. It's also will connect our city, connect our entire city, and it's really a business or an economic development tool, and a way of connecting our city, connecting all of our communities. The third thing is I'm going to build 52,000 multi-generational homes so that DC residents can afford to live in the city, stay in the city, grow their families in the city. I have a lot of experience in this. I've been building in this city for just about 30 years. I know how hard it is to be able to get this done. That is why I have the know-how to be able to make it better.
Great. We have some questions regarding affordable housing and affordability in general. We'll come to that. But the next question I have is, back in the days, at least like 4 or 5 years ago, there was ample communication for immigrant communities in the language that they use and understand. Those things are disappearing lately, and shows that the current administration is uh, staying away from addressing these communities in their language, and some readers in our community prefer to be addressed in the language that they understand. So what's your plan to keep doing that, or to bring back those communication methods?
Yeah. First, I'll say, I mean, this is something that I love about Washington D.C. is that we do have all of these different immigrant communities, and they bring their culture and heritage to our city, and that's something really that that I'm going to celebrate and connect for everyone. The As part of, I'm going to create an office of inclusion in my administration, and we are going to make sure that there is funding that for multilingual services for as part of anything that the DC government does, so that we can be able to communicate in preferred languages, and to be able to make sure that communication is key, right? Being able, whether it's understanding for residents the services that we have, or for education, it's important that we're able to communicate. And the best way to do it is in language they understand. I'm also, one of the things that I think goes to a lot of what I'm going to do, but especially this is currently the office of the ANC, Advisory Neighborhood Commissions, are under council. I'm going to elevate it, so I'm going to move it to under the office of the mayor. That way, at the most local level, there is a direct, speaking of communication, there is a direct line of communication from the individual neighborhoods, the single member districts, up to me directly. And that will also ensure that in each community, in different languages, we have the ability for not only for me and my administration to be able to communicate down to the residents, or say to the residents, I should say, but also so that residents can communicate clearly to me as well.
Uh, so this is not in the original questions, but I have a follow up for this one. One, do you think it will cause friction when you take away the ANCs from the council to the mayor? Two, I'm not sure if it still exists, but there was some kind of office that says community liaison officers that were attached with the NCs that directly report to the mayor's office. So, like, is there a need to take away the NCs instead of like using that path?
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, I'm not taking away the ANCs, right? We keep the ANC system in place. But I mean, right
I
now,
mean, the hierarchy.
oh, gotcha, the hierarchy. Yeah, I mean, in terms of the friction, when I talk to ANC commissioners all throughout the city, and I think right now there's something like 25% vacancy, or they're just ANC seats that aren't even filled. I'm hearing from ANC commissioners that they are not getting the resources that they need to be effective for their constituencies. I hear a lot that, we get all these responsibilities put to us, but we're having to come out of pocket even for the cost to be able to do our jobs, which I do anticipate either at least a stipend, or some compensation for being an ANC commissioner, because everybody's got to get paid for their work. And it also ensures that there's accountability as well. Excuse me. But in terms of friction, this will help ensure that the ANC commissioners have the resources that they need, that they are more effective, and it is my job as mayor to run the city. That is, by moving the ANC, office of the ANC there, it helps me be more effective to be able to run the city, because at every level of the government. So friction, I think, for every conversation I've had so far, is everybody, all the ANC commissioners and residents want a greater say in their city with the mayor, and this gives the ability to do so.
Great. Next question was submitted by a small business owner. They have set up their business as a virtual office in Washington, D.C., and the current CBE certification requires businesses to have brick and mortar offices so that they can be certified and also get government contracts, which in this day and age, I mean, it doesn't make sense for most people. Would you initiate a change in this ruling so that these businesses with operating a virtual office but has online presence and can show their work can be part of these government contracts?
I think it absolutely can make that change to have to not necessarily have a brick and mortar office. I do think it is important, though, that we verify that these are DC residents and that they are living here full time to be able to get that benefit. I'll also comment, though, that I've attended a lot of meetings recently about the CBE program, and it really is not, it's not being effective for DC residents. My intent, what I will make sure of, is that DC residents are actually getting the dollars from DC government business. That is, I was attended a forum, I guess now about almost a month ago. This topic came up, and two women came up to me after the forum and said, one of them had been certified for 2 years, another one had been certified for 5 years. They had not seen a single dollar from any of the from any DC contracts. Actually, one was a consulting business that didn't necessarily, to your point, need a brick and mortars office, but it didn't. They're not getting any of those dollars. So I will ensure that DC government dollars are going to DC residents.
Awesome. My next question has to do with something that you previously touched a little bit about, affordability and rental assistance, especially with emergency rental assistance program that has been opened for about an hour.
And then gone.
Yeah, then gone, disappeared, and we haven't heard if anyone actually received any benefits from that process. And I want to ask this question from 2 points: from the renter's point, also from a landlord's perspective, because there are so many landlords that are owed a lot of rent for the past 2-3 years and haven't been able to get their money back, and they're being forced out of the district because of this gap. So how would you plan to address that renters will get their benefits when needed, and also landlords can keep their doors open to renters in the long run?
Yeah, number one, from the renter's standpoint, I need to make sure that the ERAP program is fully funded, that the dollars are there for the people that need it. Second of all, as we saw the last time, as the program opened, and it was out of money quickly, and because of outdated systems, there was lines around the corner to be able to even apply, to be able to even try to get the ERAP assistance. That's unacceptable. So fixing the system to be able to ensure that the ERAP dollars gets to renters quickly is very important. From the owner standpoint, my company, We own several small multifamily buildings all throughout the city. If the city owes dollars to those owners, then I will ensure that those dollars get paid to the owners, because it does not help renters, it does not help anyone if owners of the buildings can't stay in business themselves.
Okay. Next question has to do with public safety. There has been an ongoing issue with public safety. In fact, there were some public charges against the city government about they're trying to conceal real data, crime data, and I
Yes.
think they have to let go of about 13 police officers just last
13
week.
officers. Yep.
Yeah. So, from your point of view, what do you think is the cause of this crime spike in the district, and also what do you think would be the solution that you can bring in if you get into the office of the mayor?
Yeah, I think that, okay, first of all, I'll talk about solutions, but well, I should say, start with there's real trust issues now between our police department and the residents of our city and businesses in our city. There are also the data that we've seen this now for quite a while. The data that continues to get published. It has been a colleague of mine's been looking at this extensively, and we're seeing two things. First of all, is that the underlying data itself is not really matching up with news reports and what people are seeing on the ground. There's also what's not really reported on a lot is quality of life crime. It's very hard, excuse me, to keep business open, and if when there are people that are stealing from stores, from different stores and so forth throughout the city. And we just saw a murder last week by the Tenleytown or at the Tenleytown metro station. Number one that I want to get across is that we have to rebuild trust with our police department. We are going to rebuild the force itself. We're down about 3,100 officers. Fully staffed is about 5,000. It's actually costing our city more in overtime. It's burning out our police department. Our police officers also have other responsibilities with Special Operations Division, with the executive branch. I am going to ensure that we are providing our police officers the best training to be able to serve our communities. One of my signature programs is a citywide civic organization, that provides education, training, mentorship for our workforce development, and be able to make sure, as an example, that law enforcement officers are coming from the city, are living in our communities, because I believe they should have the right to be able to live in the communities that they serve. That also helps with trust. And if they're a part of the community, that helps with trust. We also, effectively, that is, to me, the definition of community policing. We're going to ensure that there's no data sharing with ICE. I'm also going to have a fund so that if any of our immigrant communities, any immigrant is targeted by a federal agency, then not only are we saying that we are going to have your back, but we are going to put our financial resources behind that as well. Because regardless of how you got to Washington, D.C., it is my responsibility to protect you and defend you. I took an oath to the Constitution previously to defend and protect everyone. That is what I will do as mayor as well, as defend and protect everyone.
Great. That's a nice segue to the next question, which has to do with as the nation's capital leader. If you become elected as a mayor, you have to work with the federal government in many of the federal agencies. In that regard, how would you do to make how would you make sure that you are in compliance with the federal government, but also protective of the residents of the city?
Mm.
So that you don't get a blow from the federal government as well, and also give in. So what's the plan for that for you?
Yeah, and I do want to make this clear: is my oath is to protect, defend every DC resident. Period. That is service. That is my mission, and I will use every tool and create new ones to ensure that that happens. My plan is this. First of all, we need to ensure that we have a budget that is effective for DC residents, including, as I just mentioned, fund to be able to protect against targeted communities. We also have these rules under the Home Rule Act that if we breach any of them, then a financial control board automatically comes back in. There's called these 7 deadly sins under the Home Rule Act. If we breach any of them, financial control board comes back, and the President Trump can appoint the overseers, and we will lose more rights. I'm not going to allow that to happen. So I will have a budget that will protect the residents and then be effective for our residents. Second is that in that regard is I'm going to get get financial autonomy from Congress so that Congress can't interfere in our financials anymore. I'm also going to work to get control over our court system as well, so that we do not have federal interference in our courts as well. The last thing I'll say is that something that I just love about Washington, D.C. is, talk about working with federal agencies and federal governments. The federal government, we obviously have the existing Trump administration. However, DC residents make up a good portion of the federal workforce still. They are, and I talk to federal workers all the time who want to help get more for DC residents. And they've got incredible different expertise and contacts and experience. I ask a lot, well, why haven't you? Well, and I generally get the same response over and over. Well, nobody's asked. Well, I'm asking for to partner with all the DC residents that have these skills inside and outside the government to be able to work with me to be able to get more for DC residents.
Right, thank you. Before I proceed to the next question I have here at my hand, I want to follow up with the question, with the previous question, and the one I think in the beginning you mentioned there will be free public transportation, and also there's going to be a budget for this one. So how do you plan to raise funds for this new additional projects that you are trying to implement?
Yeah, it's so it is going to be, first of all, the annual cost of it is, we're projecting about $350 million a year. It is a phased approach. We will start with Metro bus being free, then over about an 18 to 24 month time period, then we'll phase Metro rail in. And I want to make sure it's clear about this. This is only for DC residents. And we hope that it ultimately be able to model for our friends in Maryland, Virginia as well. The funding for it. First of all, the funding for it, no one source of the funding is more than about 20% of the overall revenue stream. It is monetization of and capitalization of telecommunications infrastructure and wiring in our infrastructure. New York is doing this right now, and it's been successful in terms of how they raise money. Second of all, there is federal funding that comes through. Third is there are enforcement mechanisms. We can talk about the speed cameras at length, but as part of my plan, everybody's going to play by the same rules, whether you're a car, a bicycle, a e-bike, whoever. And there is a revenue stream from enforcement mechanisms as well. By the model, the financial projections right now, effectively by about somewhere between I call it year 5. If it costs $350 million a year, it has generated a net new tax revenue of $700 million. So it's what you call a 2 multiple. So ultimately, not only is an economic development tool for DC residents and businesses being able to connect our city and put money back in DC residents' pockets, which will circulate throughout the city, it will also be a net tax revenue positive for the DC government as well. It will be self-sustaining in and of itself just from the additional tax revenue, because we are projecting multi-year stable revenue as well. We'll be able to increase reliability. We'll be able to increase just the amount of service, and WMATA will be able to better budget for capital expenditures and repairs because they will know how much revenue that they've got coming in.
Okay.
I just gotta say, I know that there's a lot of people get this perception about it. We're already paying to be able to utilize our roads and our bridges and our sidewalks and our parks. This is an extension of
It's
it.
just that, like, whenever someone brings a new topic or like a new project, there has to be a budget for that, and nobody wants an extra tax increase or a tax hike that was not there before. So I just want to make clear that there is not going to be another tax hike either in individuals or businesses as well.
There are going to be, just for this, but I want to make sure this is very clear. I will not be increasing taxes. In fact, I am an expert in budgets, and I see how we are going to completely rewrite the tax code here in DC because it is leading it to having our city be less affordable. The government in and of itself, by our tax policy, is making our city less affordable. We are going to rewrite the tax code, and there will be no increases in taxes.
All right, so we can move on to the next question. Many drivers are frustrated by the express lanes, toll roads, speed cameras, and unclear enforcement. And some say navigating apps are also confusing as much as the DC government is. So what would you do to make traffic enforcement, road signage, and camera placement clearer, fairer, and more focused on public safety than generating revenue?
Yeah, I'll start by saying that the infrastructure that we have put in place, it has been very disjointed. It has, I mean, you tell me, but I'm not sure that I talk to anybody that says that the way that our city is working with transportation is really the best for anybody, and that's pedestrians, cyclists, mini mobility vehicles, cars, congestion, so forth. The policy is, as I started to allude to before, is that everybody's got to play by the same rules. That means enforcement as well. And there are lots of different tools that we can ensure that that everybody does play by the same rules, whether it's geofencing for mini mobility vehicles, even bicycles. There is the potential that we are using cameras for the purpose of what they are supposed to be for, which is safety, not just as a revenue generator for the city. It also extends to enforcement outside the city as well. Effectively, right now, we really don't enforce tickets outside of DC. So it's really just another tax on DC residents. Under my administration, we are going to step up enforcement to be able to get those dollars from our neighbors in other jurisdictions.
The incumbent mayor Muriel Bowser renewed DC's sister city relationship with Addis Ababa and traveled to Ethiopia as part of a diplomatic and trade mission. Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, and the US State Department have reported serious human rights concerns in Ethiopia, including arbitrary arrests, abuses against journalists, extrajudicial killings, conflict-related abuses, forced displacement, and mass displacement. So if elected, would you continue DC's relationship with the current Ethiopian government? Or will you change it or end it? How would human rights concerns shape your decision?
I am horrified by the violence and the human rights abuses throughout the world. My job as mayor is to protect DC residents. That is my mission. As I mentioned before, regardless of how you got here, no matter what your status is, my mission is to protect and defend DC residents and to set you up for success, to set up every DC resident for success. I will create a city that is supportive of its residents and make sure that everyone has the opportunity to succeed in DC, and that means including. I believe in inclusivity, and that is true of the Ethiopian community in DC.
So is that a yes or a no? Working with that.
It's not my. It's not my.
I'm asking.
Job.
This question
Yeah.
came forward because the current mayor has been doing some businesses with the Ethiopian government and the mayor of Addis Ababa, and that raised some issue with the community. The fact that like her voters here, a portion of her voters were not happy about that. So these are the same people now. This raising the same question: are you going to keep that legacy of working with authoritarian government abroad?
And I'm asking because I'm learning here, right? So the DC government, I know I'm the one getting interviewed, but the DC government does business directly with the Ethiopian government. Is that accurate?
Sort of. There was a mission that went from the DC government. The mayor and some of her deputy mayors traveled back to Ethiopia on a business mission. So that was the issue back then.
Look, this is a new administration, right? I am creating a new administration. I will do whatever it takes to support the Ethiopian population here in Washington, D.C. I'll review the policy and see what's in the best interest of DC and the Ethiopian community. It is, I will commit to, what I will commit to is reviewing the policy.
Andrew, I'll get back to you when you become a mayor. And
look, and I really do want to get this across, is that for your constituents, for your people, I want to do what it takes to support you. I want to do what it takes to support the Ethiopian community here. That's important to me.
Good. So this is the last question I have. But before we end, DC has so many businesses, restaurants that are of Ethiopian and Eritrean origin.
And I love it.
Hold your thoughts. I'm going to ask you for your favorite before we end this thing. What's like, where do you go when you want to have anything Ethiopian?
Okay, so you tell me if this is controversial or not, okay?
Gotcha.
But it's Ethiopian Eritrean. Do you know, so we used to go to Dukem, but do you know Karen up on Florida Avenue?
Yeah.
Oh, we're there. We try to go every week. I mean, now I feel like I'm going to make a plug for the restaurant. The owners are just wonderful people. The food, actually, was it last night? The night before, we either go up there and eat at the restaurant or we bring it in. The food is great. It's
what's your favorite food while you're at it?
So we get I can tell you exactly the order. We get the number one, the special tibsi with chicken, the number two, mixed vegetables with injera. And then they actually have just a pasta dish, which it just hits right with we get it with meat sauce that we just love. So it's awesome. It is a staple in our diet.
Oh, great! I'm hungry now.
Lunch on me.
Sure thing. I'll hold you for that. I'm done with all my questions, but candidate Gary Goodweather, thank you for coming to our show and addressing our community. I am really thankful for that, and I wish you all the best. But before we depart, if you have any parting statement to the community, you can take up this time.
Sure. Your community, the Ethiopian community, is such an integral part of Washington, D.C., and I want you to know that I appreciate all of you. The election, mail-in ballots have gone out. Our early voting starts June 8th, ends June 14th. The primary is June 16th. Please rank me number one. If you don't rank me number one, I'd be honored to have your second choice ranking, but please rank me number one.
All right. Thank you so much for everything, and thank you our viewers for tuning in. I'm going to continue in Amharic. Just don't go anywhere. I'll get back to you. ስለተከታተላችሁን እናመሰግናለን። ዛሬ ከከንቲባ ጌሪ ጉድዌዘር ጋር የነበረንን ቃለ መጠይቅ አጠናቀናል። የዚህን ቃለ መጠይቅ የአማርኛ ትርጉም በቅርቡ ይዘንላችሁ የምንመጣ ይሆናል አጠናቅረን። እንግሊዝኛውን ፕሮግራም ግን በማንኛውም ሰዓት ፌስቡክ ላይ በመግባት ላይቭ ቪዲዮቹን ማየት ትችላላችሁ። በዚህ አጋጣሚ እጩ ከንቲባ ጌሪ ጉድዌዘርን አክብረውን እዚህ ጋር ስለተገኙ ለማመስገን እንወዳለን። ለእናንተም መልካም ቀን ይሁንላችሁ። መልካም ምሽት። ቻው።
Thank you.